I am always watching success tips and how people become successful, how people find their way and stick to it regardless of all the opposition. It really fascinates me. But after hearing many wildly and other successful people breaking down their advice, I have come to the conclusion that the perfect advice does not exist. It might have existed if someone managed to live more than once, but you just cannot speak to the whole world in one statement. The reason is simple. Life is unique. Everyone lives a different life, filled with different people and experiences. If I advise you about something, I am simply telling you what I experienced. That notion only perfectly makes sense to me because I went through it. The experience is unique, making the advice unique too. Yes, people can relate, but only you fully understand what you preach. If someone asks me why people procrastinate, I would say because they are afraid of being embarrassed. That would only be why I procrastinate. At the same time, you might procrastinate because of a whole other reason. It might seem stupid to me because I have never gone through it. It might make all the sense to you. Some reasoning behind things cannot be put into words because it is wildly personal. Fortune favors the brave. I blatantly support this saying. It has worked in the past. The bold people are generally the most successful. Factors out of our control play a major role in everything. That also makes success in something entirely personal. It ultimately means that while yes, success leaves clues, everyone has to pave their own way. Maybe someone works really hard but is very unlucky too. You can never know for sure. I have watched a lot of Gary Vee and other successful people giving their nuggets of knowledge for things. To be happy and grateful, Gary Vee convinces himself that some of his relatives passed. It is a grim way of thinking, but he says it works for him. In fact, he advised it to a large pool of people at one of his Q&As. Now, this might not work for most people. At the same time, it might. If someone sits down and convinces themselves of this, they might end up being depressed rather than happy. There is a possibility of a wide range of outcomes. Gary Vee famously says to a 20-year-old teen obsessed with success and having fun, if you keep your head down and work for 10 years, no new car, no Coachella, no parties, no expensive dumb shit, you will have what you want to have. There is obviously a massive contradiction here. What if the person has lived his whole life this way, and everyone around him buys these things and flaunt it? How is she supposed to wipe these expensive dumb shit out of their mind? I personally love this quote and believe in it with all my heart. But at the same time, it might not make sense to someone else because they have lived their entire life that way. Consider another example. Dan Pena, a success coach, tells his mentees, "Don't be nice to other people, yell at them and swear much. That is what the most successful people do." Now, this is not exactly what he says, but this is me paraphrasing it. When I was not getting anywhere personally, I thought to myself, maybe what he is saying is right. But at the same time, I thought I don't want to live in such a toxic world. So if he is right, I will get nowhere because I don't want to live like this. On the other side of things, I see successful people being against it. I choose to side with them because they align with me better. I know someone who loves Dan Pena. I used to judge that a lot. I don't anymore. Everyone has a personal standpoint. This doesn't mean you have to stop giving or taking advice, but that you need to give the advice giver room for error. I have seen many people bashing self-development articles when the advice doesn't work for them. Most certainly, a lot of the advice I have received has not worked for me. I understand that. But just as there is no one such piece of advice that works for everyone, one person cannot speak to the whole world about how that advice doesn't work. It goes both ways. So next time you seek advice, consider this. While no one can give the perfect advice, what you are trying to achieve has likely been achieved by many people in different forms. That gives you access to a variety of different advice from them. Choose your potion and let it work wonders for you, but ultimately make up your own mind.